Hello dear students, welcome to class 11 Commerce RKSP Boys High Secondary School, Darjeeling. I am Ms. Sangita Thapa and I am here to guide you with the subject Commercial Law and Preliminaries of Auditing. First of all, this is my first class, so today I will do a little introduction, brief introduction about these subjects and how they are related to commerce. Now, I know that most of you have never heard of these subjects before. So, let me today briefly explain to you what we have to study in these subjects. First of all, before going to the subjects, let us see how the marks are distributed or how the marks are divided according to your syllabus, according to your question paper. Now, Commercial and Preliminaries of Auditing are two different subjects, but it consists of 100 marks, total 100 marks. 50 marks Commercial Law and 50 marks Preliminaries of Auditing. These subjects are divided into two sections, two parts. Part A, Commercial Law, Part B, Preliminaries of Auditing. Here, according to your paper, according to your syllabus, Part A, Commercial Law, Theory, you have 40 marks and Project 10 marks. Again, Part A is divided into four groups. Group A, Group B, Group C and Group D. Group A, you have multiple choice questions consisting of 1 mark each and you have to attempt 12 questions. So total 12 marks. And Group B, you have very short answer type questions that also consisting of 1 mark each. You have to attempt 6 questions, total 6 marks. Now Group C, you have short answer type questions, which is 4 marks each, and you have to attempt 4 questions, total 16 marks. Now last, Group D, long descriptive answer type questions. Here you have to attempt 1 question. Only 1 question consisting of 6 marks. So, total you have here, Commercial Law Part A, 40 marks theory paper. Okay? Now, here Part B, Preliminaries of Auditing, exactly the same pattern. Here also you will have Group A, Group B, Group C and Group D, same marking system, same marks distribution. Understood? Okay. Now, if you have understood the marking system, if you have understood the question pattern, now let us go to Commercial Law. First of all, please try to understand that Commercial Law and Preliminaries of Auditing are two separate subjects, but they come under one paper. Remember that they come under one paper. You have 40 Commercial Law, 40 marks auditing, total 80 written and 20 marks project, total 100. Okay, now coming to Commercial Law. Your first chapter, according to Commercial Law, according to your syllabus, is the introduction chapter. The whole chapter, introduction chapter, consists of 3 parts, Part A, Part B and Part C. Now, first of all, in your syllabus, you have definition of law. Now, law, as you all know, is a general term which means rules and regulations that we have to follow. Otherwise, peaceful living is impossible. If we don't follow law, peaceful living is impossible. There will be chaos in the country, and so that law is enforced in every country to maintain peace and harmony. So let me explain to you. One important question is, one of the most common questions that usually comes in your paper is, define law. Define law. So as you know, law is related to the conduct of the people in a society. How we behave in the society, how we follow the law, it is what? It is related to the society. Now next, it ensures peace and harmony in a society. If we do not follow law, you know, I told you before also, peaceful living is impossible. Now thirdly, it is enforced by the government. In every country, law is enforced by the government. So that is all. It is only, you usually get 1 mark, very short answer type question. What is, otherwise define law. So your answer is, law is very simple. It is enforced by the government. It ensures peace and harmony in the society, and it is related to the conduct of the people in the society. Okay? So that is law. Now, according to your chapter, next is meaning of commercial law or mercantile law. Remember, commercial law is also known as mercantile law. Commercial law, as you know, is a new subject to you. So, law is related to many subjects. For example, transfer and inheritance of property, relationship between persons, different crimes and different punishments. And lastly, law is also related to industry, trade and commerce. Very, very important. Now, whatever we have done about law, we don't have to study everything about law. We don't have to study about the inheritance and transfer of property. We don't have to study about relationship between persons. We don't have to study about crimes and punishment. But commercial law is related to the last subject, that is industry, trade and commerce. Okay. Now, what does commercial law or mercantile law do? First of all, it determines the rights and duties of the persons engaged in trade and commerce. Okay? Commercial law or mercantile law determines the rights and duties of the people engaged in trade and commerce. Number 2, it settles disputes. Disputes meaning arguments that usually arise in ordinary business transactions between buyers and sellers. That is very common. We usually have arguments, disputes in our daily ordinary business transactions between buyers and sellers. And it also settles issues regarding banking, insurance and all other companies that are connected with trade and commerce. So that is your commercial law. Commercial law or mercantile law is law that is related to only industry, trade and commerce. Now, next, according to your chapter, introduction chapter, part A, define law, we have done. Part B, meaning of commercial law or mercantile law. Now, coming to part C, sources of Indian commercial law, meaning how has this commercial law come about? Where have we derived these different laws from? Now, we are concerned only with Indian commercial law. We are not concerned about other countries' commercial law. We are only concerned about Indian commercial law. This is also a very important question that comes almost every year. Question, what are the sources of Indian commercial law? Now, the most common source of Indian commercial law is your English commercial law. Is your English commercial law. Now, we all know that India was under British rule for many years before independence. But their common English laws, commercial law, English commercial law has been added to our law also. Only those laws that suit our Indian conditions, suits our traditions, suits our cultures. So, a little bit of English commercial law has been added to our Indian commercial law. That is your one of the main, or you can say important sources of Indian commercial law is your English commercial law. Now, next, Indian Statute Law, meaning passed by the Indian government. Now, Indian commercial law has been codified in the forms of, let me write it here, acts. Acts with a capital A. Passed by the parliament or the state legislature. Understood? Now, Indian statute law means Indian commercial law which has been codified as acts and which are passed by the parliament or the state legislature. Some of the examples of Indian statute law are, here we have to do this again. Next chapter, you have got Indian Contract Act 1872. Now, this is also one of the Indian statute law. And next, another example is Sale of Goods Act 1930. And another example, Partnership Act 1932. These are all acts passed by the state, passed by the parliament or the state legislature. Okay, now these, I have given you a little brief introduction to commercial law. Now next, let me start with preliminaries of auditing. Preliminaries of auditing is also first chapter, also consists of your introduction. Here I have not written it down, so I will tell you myself. You have got your first chapter, introduction chapter, same as definition of law, you have got definition of auditing. Now, what is auditing? Maybe some of you may have heard of this word, some of you may not have heard of this word before, but it is a common word that we usually hear about. Auditing is systematic examination of all the books of accounts, all the transactions that are prepared in the business to verify or to ascertain whether the final statements are true and fair view of the concern or of the business. In other words, it is a systematic examination of all the books of accounts to verify whether they are true and fair view of the business, whether they show exactly the correct financial position of the business. Now, that is the definition of auditing. Auditing, now let me tell you how auditing has started. That is your, okay, let me write it down. Auditing, number 1. First chapter, number 1, introduction. I have done definition. And number B, now, next. Evolution of auditing. Evolution of auditing. How has auditing become so popular? What made audit become so compulsory nowadays? Now let me explain to you. First of all, audit has been derived from the Latin word audire. Audit has been derived from the Latin word audire. Now note this word, this is very important, which means to hear. Which means to hear. Which means to hear. In the olden days, what people used to do is, they used to have all the transactions done, and then to get them checked or to get them verified, they used to go to some experienced people, to go to some experts who used to hear their accounts, and verify or ascertain whether they are correct or not, or whether they are true and fair or not. So you can see accounting and auditing has been started from many years back. So why auditing has become so popular these days? First of all, with the rapid increase in industries after the 18th century industrial revolution, and then rapid growth in joint stock companies, companies have become so big that the owners cannot handle them themselves. The owners cannot see all the matters regarding financial conditions of the business. They cannot go deep into the matters relating to management. So over the years, what has happened is, with the introduction of joint stock companies, owners and management have become separated. Now, owners are the shareholders, and here all the work is done by the management. So, after the management, the board of directors prepare the final statement. At the end of the year, they have to prepare the final statement. The owners, they would definitely like to have them checked whether these accounts, final statements, final state of affairs of the business is correct. Is it true? Is it fair? Are the management doing their job correct, sincerely? So, what the owners do is they hire independent person known as the auditor. Now, what does the auditor do? They come to the company and they get all the information regarding the business, all the documents, vouchers, transactions, cash book, minute book, whatever he can get from the owners, from the management. Then he has to check all of them, scrutinize them, examine all the books of accounts, and finally make a report. Yes, the financial statements are true and fair. Okay, understood? Now, see objectives. Objectives of auditing. Objectives of auditing are divided into two parts. First, primary objectives, and second, secondary objectives. Now, what is the primary or main objective of auditing? First, your primary objectives. The main objective is to ensure or to verify the accounts, the final accounts prepared by the management is true and fair. It is showing true and fair position of the company. That is the primary objective of the auditor. He has to verify all the documents, all the transactions, and lastly, he has to ascertain that whether the final statements are true and fair view of the concern. That is your primary objective. Now, after while trying to maintain your primary objective, we come across many mistakes, many errors, many frauds. So, secondary objective naturally comes here after primary objective. While trying to ascertain whether the financial statements are true and fair, we find many errors and frauds. So, your secondary objective is to detect and prevent errors, to detect and prevent fraud. Now, these are little brief introduction to your commercial law and preliminaries of auditing. So, commercial law, I have told you one of the main questions, define law, which I have already given you the answer. And number B, meaning of commercial law or mercantile law. Remember, commercial law is also known as mercantile law. Don't get confused. I have also given you the answer for that. It is concerned only with industry, trade and commerce. And finally, the last topic of your chapter 1, introduction chapter, sources of Indian commercial law, from where we have got this law. So I have given you 4 points here. That is your introduction to commercial law. Now, introduction to your auditing, preliminaries of auditing. I have told you what is auditing and how auditing has become so popular, why auditing has become so popular, and C, objectives of auditing. These are all very important questions. Every year you will get define auditing, explain the evolution of auditing, and see what are the objectives, primary objectives of auditing, and what are the secondary objectives of auditing. Now that is your first chapter, commercial law first chapter, and commercial law preliminaries or auditing first chapter. So I hope you have understood a little bit about these subjects. We have got 11 Commerce WhatsApp group. So I will give you the full syllabus through our WhatsApp group, because I cannot write everything here on the blackboard. And then these are just brief explanation. So through WhatsApp group, I will send you detailed answers, and please follow the group, and please try to understand the subject, because it is completely new to most of you, and please pay attention. Thank you. This is much for today.